Hi. So, the NAACP has decided to stand behind their fugazi ass Washington State chapter leader, Rachel Deluz, Dueles, Delaz. I don't give a fuck. 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 You wanna know why? Because the fact that the NAACP is still riding for this bitch, unsurprising. Cause I refuse to believe that these motherfuckers hired this bitch and didn't know that she was fucking white or didn't have a fucking inclination. But the shit that kills me the most is these black folks trying to tell me that this is a light-skinned person who is really black, and that her parents are lying because they're jealous of her status in the black community. And I'm sitting here like, lies. You feel me? Like, I'm sitting here like, this is lies. Like, who is telling y'all this shit? It's hurting me. It's really hurting me, honestly, because it's like all these black folks coming out of the woodwork trying to tell me that they know some shit about this white lady. Like, the proof is in the pudding. And you wanna know what the pudding is? It's a little ass video where they say, is this your father? And she says yes to this random ass white man and not this black man. So my thing is this, like, she's already told on herself. So I'm not really like 100% sure like where the fuck folks are coming from trying to cape. But then at the same time, anti-blackness, I could see that. I could see folks being like, no, this is a black person. Like, we've decided that she's black because she's decided that she's black, and that's that. And it's one of those things where it's like, no. Nah. I don't know. It's just very strange because, like, I think in ways, I think folks felt kind of like the NAACP would have to, you know, kick this bitch out of her position. Just off the basis that she lied about being, like, I don't know. It's like niggas are so brainwashed that they feel like a white person wanting to be black and taking opportunities from black folks is somehow, like, pro-black. It's somehow, like, not fucked up. And then you have other folks talking about how perhaps she's mentally ill, she's a pathological liar, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, is she a pathological liar? Like, how are we diagnosing her? You know what I mean? Like, that's why I didn't diagnose her, because it's fucked up. It's violent to be trying to say you know what someone's afflicted with, especially when we're talking about a white person who's doing some fuck shit. Like, why are we giving so much, why does she have access to so much agency? You know what I mean? Like, that's a question that I feel like we could be posing to the NAACP and to all these motherfucking coons out here that think that just because someone who's white wants to be another fucking race, they get to be that. And then it just makes me think about, like, all the white folks that be lying. Like, my first instance of white folks lying about their race was on a dating site where I noticed that this white man had, like, checked off every single race. Like, he was, like, white, Pacific Islander, Asian, black, Latina, like, all these signifiers of race, he had checked off. And when I was looking at him, I'm like, girl, you is not that mixed. Like, no tea. And when we talked, and I asked him, I was like, girl, I was like, girl, are you really Asian? I was like, girl, are you really First Nations? Like, girl, like, what's the tea? Like, this person gonna tell me, oh, well, I clicked off every single race so that if someone's racist, they wouldn't find me. And I'm sitting here like, white folks, y'all the racists. Y'all are who, like, you're scared of other white folk. That's what it comes down to, because I've never, like, I don't know. I know that some folks do not date white folks, and I feel like that's the part of it that irks me, is I know a lot of people of color who go out of their way not to date white folk. They go out of their way to date people of color. So I find that when a white person is taking on this role, this bullshit illusion of being a person of color, being someone who's not white or not just white, I'm done with you. You're so silent. Bitch, I was so mad. You took all the fucking chicken salad, and I, like, wanted to cry. I looked in the fridge, and I was like, Why though? I like got on my knees and I like started looking for it like OD. I was like, it gotta be in here.
I'm sorry.
Not
I
great.
ain't really eat it.
I saw you not really eat it, and that's why I was like even more angry right now. I'm kidding, I'm not mad. But when white folks do shit like that, it's kind of like for who? You know, what fear does a white man have that someone's not checking for him because he's white? You know what I mean? But in his mind, he's like, well, I'm not trying to find somebody who's only looking for white people, because think about it: if someone's racist and is like, I only want to meet a white person, and they put in that that they only want to meet a white person, they're not going to see that person, or perhaps maybe they wouldn't see that person, perhaps. So in ways, it kind of blocks them off to people who are only looking for white people. But in ways, if you're a white person and someone white is looking for you, how racist can that experience be? Like, I feel like y'all will probably have way more in common than if a person of color was looking for a person of color and was like, okay, I'm looking for, I'm open to all these races save for white, or even including white, and then, you know what I mean? And then they see this person and they're like, I'm not sure if you're mixed. I'm not sure if you're, you know what I mean? It's like those gender politics. Like, people can say whatever the fuck they want to say. People can claim all types of ancestry. But at the end of the day, think about, especially my mixed folks out here, especially my folks that like to claim all these heritages, want to claim all these islands, want to claim all this indigenous root. Think about what you do for your communities that you are claiming. When you're telling all these white folk, when you're telling other POC, oh, I'm I'm Pomeranian and half French bulldog. Like, when you're telling people your racial mixes and shit like that, what is that for? Is that because you really are proud of your heritage and you have something to contribute, or is it because you're trying to other yourself from blackness? Think about shit like that. And I realize not every mixed person is black, and I realize not every person who perhaps lies about their racial mix obviously is not black. But I'm saying, like, a lot of my mixed folks out here, y'all be trying to snatch all these motherfucking destination ass fucking places, like all these vacation ass spots as your homeland, as your motherfucking heritage. But I think at the end of the day, when we're talking about heritage, what do you actually try to reinforce in your day to day? Like, what do you try to do to uplift the communities that you are, that you're calling out as your community? If you're sitting here talking about, I'm First Nations, I got my grandma's part Native American. Okay, what do you do for First Nations folks? What do you do as a person who identifies as First Nations? It's just one of those things where it's like, it's so easy to be empty in your presentation. Look at Rachel. She popped up talking about something, I'm white, I'm black, and I'm First Nations, and no one questioned her. And I feel like even because no one questioned her, she was able to write all these fucking articles about her experience that were obviously lies. At one point, she said she grew up in a teepee. In another instance, she says that she was hunting with bows and arrows when she was young. And I feel like in ways, this is just like another fetishized idea of like early native life that she's just making a mockery of, because good and goddamn well this white bitch did not live like that. So I wonder why the fuck people do these things. But I think at the end of the day, it's for mobility, talking about social situations, talking about endeavors in terms of employment. This person, it's not like the other thing is, someone tried to tell me, what is Rachel getting from doing this? What is Rachel getting from identifying as black? And I'm like, she has a job that's extremely influential in her area in terms of black lives. She's actually a keynote speaker for she's supposed to be the keynote speaker for Black Lives Matters. There's an event next month called there's a Black Lives Matter rally next month, and she's supposed to be a keynote speaker. And I find that very interesting that this is our keynote speaker. This woman is a fucking keynote speaker. Fucking fake ass black lady. Trying to lie. Trying to pretend. I don't know. It's just like, it hurts me. It kills me. It makes me feel all types of ways. But I definitely can't say that I feel none of y'all talking about she's an ally and, how is she a bad person? Someone actually asked me in my YouTube, how am I personally affected by her? As if I need to be like personally fucking slapped in the face, having a job taken from me. I need to have a physical engagement with someone being a fucking white supremacist. Like, I need to have a physical, tangible fucking interaction with them to make it justify me actually speaking out against something that I find quite abhorrent, that I find quite detestable, that I find quite mind-boggling, quite honestly. But is it really mind-boggling? Who don't want to be us? Who don't wish that they were from the house of melanin, like fucking Ghazi be saying? You feel me? Who don't wish that they were fucking just as radiant and as fucking resilient as black folks. But I think you can wish and you can want and you can hope to fucking be. But I think at the end of the motherfucking day, if you're over here taking food out of black folks' mouths, money out of black people's pockets, taking opportunities out of black folks' communities, that's when we need to be clocking you. And I don't think it just goes as far as white folks pretending to be black. I think like there needs to be conversations and dialogues about light-skinned privilege, because so many light-skinned folks just popped out talking about, she looked like my family. But she's not, though. And I feel like all y'all folks want to have this personal connection with this black masquerading ass white lady. Y'all really derailing. Y'all are really fucking derailing because you're using your privilege to even have a voice in the community. Think about how many light-skinned folks have channels. Think about how many dark-skinned, I want you to name like 10 dark-skinned folks that we talking about conscious ass fucking shit like this. I want you to name them underneath this fucking video if you can. I can't. I truly cannot. I can name a couple. I'm not going to because I'll be embarrassed. I can only name like 3 folks right now. But honestly, if we're being real, let's talk about colorism in terms of Politico. Let's talk about why this white woman had ample opportunities in a black fucking owned, or rather a black affiliated organization. Why did she have favor? You know, we gotta ask those questions because when it comes down to it, you know, what are her qualifications? All her life is fake. All her life is not real. So then it makes you wonder, what is the basis for her having any space to really talk and really defend herself? She's already done too much, in my opinion. She's already done the fucking most. So I feel like in lots of ways, I can't really hold too much space for her anymore because I think I held space. I think I was invisibly holding space for the fact that the NAACP chapter was like headed by somebody black. And I think that the fact that this is a black masquerading white woman, and that's like the littlest fact of the whole thing. Because like she over here got a fake daddy, got a brother that's she pretending as her son. She's tying nooses on her own fucking house. She went to Howard University and she majored in Africana studies. What? You know what I mean? It's just like all these opportunities for you to like really know yourself as a black person. I feel like she's had so much scaffolding and I can't for 1 minute try and pretend like that's not because she's white. It's definitely because she's white, and she can put some bronzer on her face, on her arms, on her legs, and she can pass all the fucking day. But I think the fact that like folks know that she's been outed is just monumental, because I think we actually do finally have a moment in history, it seems like, to talk about light-skinned privilege and talk about the ways in which light-skinned folks are put in positions of power, and it often goes unchecked. And I feel like had folks been checking on Miss Rachel, they would have been able to figure out that this was not really a fucking black woman. Like reading all of her diatribes, it sounds like a white person wrote it. It's just wild to me that anyone would believe that she was a person of color. Her vibe is not that. She is not in that set, and I do not feel her. I do not feel this woman. We do not vibe. And I don't know, I just want her to go away. But it just irks me that the NAACP is still fucking with her. It's just like, damn. I would hate to be the black lady that came in for the same interview, you feel me, and didn't get it. And then you find this shit out. You find out that this white lady ain't shit. And you find out that this white lady done stole your job, and she has no edges. She's out here edgeless, pretending to be black. Like, it's just irking the fuck out of me, quite honestly. Deeper than the edges. But that is it's a point of anger. It's a point of contention. But I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to just say, boo. NAACP, how y'all gonna get all the fucking facts? How y'all gonna get Scooby-Doo and all the gang to get together and snatch the fucking mask off this bitch, and y'all just wanna put it back on and act like everything's gravy, like everything's fucking Fruit Loops and Cheerios? Not at all, bitch. Fuck your breakfast.